Hello everybody, my name is 711, and very recently, Smogon came out with some new tier changes. Excuse me guys, I'm really sick, and that's why I haven't been uploading much. But I really wanted to show you some of the tier changes for a bunch of very different Pokemon. First of all, there's Celebi, and Celebi is pretty popular, I suppose. Been in OU for a really long time. But honestly, I haven't seen Celebi used all that much at all. So, I'm actually perfectly fine with Celebi moving from OU to UU. Sure, it can Calm Mind, set up Baton Pass, and all that sort of stuff. But without weakness to, with that really bad weakness to Bug, just Scarf something with U-Turn and Celebi is gone. That's pretty much what it takes to really hurt a Celebi. Celebi is usually used as a cleric with Heal Bell. I believe it gets Wish. I really haven't used Celebi much. I haven't really fought against Celebis. In all honesty, the only time I've really used Celebis, the only time I've really seen Celebis is in Monotype Grass. Not even a Monotype Psychic. So anyway, that's Celebi for you. So with Celebi moving from overused to underused, I'm okay with that. I think that its stats are good enough that it won't go into rarely used. Next is Honchkrow, who has moved from underused to rarely used. This was a bit of a shock for me. Honchkrow can really do a number on Pokemon. Honchkrow really isn't all that fast. He can Pursuit Trap Pokemon, and he can Sucker Punch, which are both stab. And then there is Brave Bird and Roost. So that's mostly all that Honchkrow does. I believe Defog also. I could be wrong. I haven't used Honchkrow a whole lot either. But Honchkrow is pretty surprising because you send in Honchkrow and usually something dies. Usually something dies whenever Honchkrow is switched in for free. Just because of how powerful its attack is, and then if Honchkrow is Moxie, if it gets Moxie boosts with a Life Orb, then Honchkrow is like really threatening. So that's Honchkrow for you. I guess there are some ways around it. There are some defensive walls for Honchkrow that Honchkrow doesn't like much, and then Honchkrow can get burned or paralyzed. Either of those is really detrimental to Honchkrow's survival. So you know what? I don't really use Honchkrow that much, so I'm not too upset about that. Next, with Gastrodon moving from RU to NU, that's a little bit surprising because Gastrodon can Toxic Stall with Recover and Protect. Gastrodon can Scald Burn things. Gastrodon has an immunity in water with Storm Drain. So Gastrodon was a little surprising. If you look at its stats, it's not very overwhelming. I think that Gastrodon was fine in the rarely used tier, but with Gastrodon's moving down to NU, that's pretty surprising. I have used Gastrodon, and it really didn't do a whole lot for me. Sure, Gastrodon would be able to hurt something a little bit, but then once Gastrodon takes one turn, it's pretty much spending the rest of its time recover stalling. Recover stall. And all you need is Hidden Power Grass, and Honchkrow is gone. So that's Gastrodon. Next, we have Aggron move from RU to NU. That move is really surprising. That move is really surprising. Aggron has Curse. It has a really great offensive move pool. Steel typing is pretty good against fairies. And Rock is a very, very powerful stab offensive type. So with Aggron moving down, that's really surprising to me. That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, Conkeldurr moving from OU to UU, that took everybody by surprise. Conkeldurr is very powerful on its own. It's not very fast at all. Even if you give it double speed with Tailwind or maybe Baton Pass into Conkeldurr, it's still pretty slow if you double its speed. Now, Conkeldurr is a really great status absorber with its ability Guts, and then Conkeldurr really gets really great use of Knock Off and Mach Punch. Stab Mach Punch is pretty brutal. So Conkeldurr did a lot in OU. It really did. Why it moved to UU, I'm not quite sure. Maybe, well, I guess it moved to UU because less people were using Conkeldurr for whatever reason. And you know what? It has really great bulk too. Speed is really low, but all of its stats besides that are great. It has really great hit points, great defense, not so great special defense, but with the Assault Vest boosting it up 50%, the Conkeldurr can take most hits. And it has some recovery in Drain Punch, Stab Drain Punch. So unless you have a Ghost, it's not going to... Yeah, unless you have a Ghost, Conkeldurr can get some health back. If you do have a Ghost, then there's knockoff. So Conkeldurr was a really great OU Pokemon, and I have a feeling Conkeldurr will be moved back into UU. Now, Mega Alakazam. This picture's a little bit old. And so Mega Alakazam and Mega Altaria were actually moved from OU to Borderline. Borderline 1 between overused and underused. Mega Alakazam is the definition of a beast. Mega Alakazam has insanely high special attack, insanely high speed, insanely great move pool, and with the Trace ability, you know, Mega Alakazam can take whatever ability you are using, and that makes it so versatile. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Now, the problem is its defenses aren't that great. Anything with priority, not much outspeeds it. Like, hardly anything outspeeds it. So, Sucker Punch, goodbye. Shadow Sneak, goodbye. Extreme Speed, goodbye. You know, and even Aqua Jet and Ice Shard, Bullet Punch, all of those will do a lot of damage to Mega Alakazam. So, that was pretty surprising. And I think that Mega Alakazam is just slightly less beneficial than just a Focus Sash regular Alakazam, because a regular Alakazam can take a Toxic. Regular Alakazam can take a Will-O-Wisp and not be effective whatsoever. Or it could even hold a Life Orb, you know, with its hidden ability Magic Guard, which makes it incredibly, incredibly powerful, and it will take a hit if it has the Focus Sash. So the thing is that Mega Alakazam was somehow dropped to Borderline. Trace is pretty situational, honestly. But yeah, that's basically Mega Alakazam. Megaltaria, on the other hand, is also very, very versatile. It gets access to Pixelate, which is an incredibly good ability to have, which we're going to talk about in a little bit when we come to Sylveon. Megaltaria gets access to Return, and Frustration, and Body Slam, and Hyper Voice, and a lot of good moves that are normal typing, and that can be changed into a Fairy type stab move, and it's even stronger yet. So, Megaltaria can really wreck some Pokemon if it sets up a Dragon Dance or a Cotton Guard. It's just really powerful. And so Megaltaria can do a huge number to anyone. Now, its biggest weakness is probably the Steel typing, for which it gets Fire Blast and Flamethrower. Also gets Earthquake. Earthquake also helps with Poison types. So, Megaltaria does have some coverage against, its biggest weaknesses. But, the ever-prevalent Heatran with the Air Balloon just completely shuts down Megaltaria right then and there. Heatran is a pretty good counter, and I guess a lot of people just weren't using Megaltaria as much as they used to, and so Megaltaria moved down to underused. So we'll see what happens. Quagsire. Quagsire was moved from never used to overused. Now, I was pondering this for a while. It's like, how in the world... I mean, it's not like Quagsire moved from NU to RU, or NU to UU, or even to borderline. No, it moved all the way up. That's a huge jump, right? So, how can you make sense of all this? Well, probably from its hidden ability, Unaware. So, with its Unaware ability, most stat modifications are ignored, which means that a +6 Hyper Voice from a +6 special attack Hyper Voice from Sylveon does the same amount as if it was only 1. That means that if something sets up on you, then you just switch in Quagsire and then just proceeds to dismantle your team with Toxic Stalling or Scald Burning or whatever else it does. So I really don't agree with Quagsire moving from NU all the way to OU. I can see it moving into RU, for sure. But you know what? It shares a lot of similar qualities to Gastrodon. They both can be immune to water. Gastrodon gets Storm Drain to boost special attack. Quagsire gets Water Absorb to recover health, which I could use right now, honestly, because I'm so sick. So that's Quagsire in a nutshell. Yeah, I don't agree with Quagsire moving so high up in the tiers. I can understand it going into RU and maybe even UU at its highest, but certainly not OU. I don't think it will stay there for long. Here's another Pokemon that I don't agree with very much, is Smeargle. Smeargle was moved from rarely used to never used. That is saying something, because yeah, Smeargle really doesn't get very much, that doesn't have very good stats at all. But seeing as how Smeargle can get every move in the game, and he can Baton Pass. I mean, if you just do Cotton Guard, Amnesia, Baton Pass, then you have a really solid wall. The thing is that Smeargle usually doesn't last that long, even with a Focus Sash. Sure, Smeargle could set up screens, but other Pokemon do that better. Sure, Smeargle could do like King Shield to really be a nuisance to other Pokemon. Sure, Smeargle can do like Origin Pulse for double battles, Quick Guard, Cotton Guard, all that sort of shenanigans that Smeargle likes to do. I still think that Smeargle deserves a spot in rarely used, but not never used. Next we have Mawile. Mawile was in never used and was moved into PU, which I'm really surprised about. Now, to be honest, Mawile isn't all that great of a Pokemon in the first place. Probably the best thing going for it is Intimidate, and heck, even Mightyena gets Intimidate. So Mawile's stats-wise, very Steel, doesn't like Fire-type moves, doesn't like Ground-type moves, doesn't like getting burned. Mawile is really good against most dragons, but most dragons get Earthquake anyway. Mawile isn't all that fast anyway. And also Mawile, I mean, a dragon wouldn't want to hit a Steel type before it picked up the Fairy typing. So there really aren't any dragon types in NU and PU. Maybe Eviolite Dragonair, but that's about it that I've seen anyway. But anyway, Mawile is... I think Mawile is a little better than PU. We'll see. We'll see. Next we have Sylveon. Sylveon moving from OU to UU was pretty huge. Sylveon is a Pokemon that is a really good wall. It's a wall breaker with Specs Hyper Voice. It's just really, really slow. Sylveon is a really great recipient to pretty much any baton passing. If you give Sylveon like a +2 or +3 speed and proceeds to be faster in everything, then Sylveon can just win. With Hyper Voice and Psyshock, or even Stored Power, Hidden Power Ground, or Hidden Power Fire, for those ever-prevalent Sizzlers and Mega Sizzlers, Sylveon played very, very well in Overused, and I don't think that Sylveon deserves to be in UU. I think that Sylveon is better than that. That is for certain. Now, if you look at some of the other Pokemon that were moved to underused, like Celebi and Conkeldurr, I think that Sylveon pretty much destroys Conkeldurr. You can give Sylveon enough EVs to survive a Poison Jab from a Conkeldurr, and then destroy it with Hyper Voice, and Sylveon is faster. Yeah, Sylveon is faster than Conkeldurr. I don't know if Conkeldurr can take one Hyper Voice or not, but it definitely can't take two. So Sylveon in UU along with Conkeldurr, that's a really interesting matchup. It really is, for certain. Now, there are a lot of dragons in underused. There's Haxorus, there's Salamence, there's Goodra, and there is Hydreigon. Poor Hydreigon. Hydreigon is like a really, really good underused Pokemon, and yet now it's in the same tier as Sylveon. So, we're going to be seeing a lot of Sylveons running around and absolutely obliterating a Hydreigon just by breathing on it. So there's Sylveon for you. I really think that Sylveon should be back in Overused. Hopefully it will soon. The last two Pokemon, Amoonguss and Zapdos, those are both moved into Overused from being, less than Overused, which is really surprising to me. Amoonguss really doesn't belong in Overused. It really doesn't. I mean, there's stuff like Serperior in Overused. There's stuff like Heatran. There's stuff like Breloom that Amoonguss just cannot touch. So, Amoonguss really doesn't have a place in Overused, in my opinion. And then finally Zapdos in Overused. But by the way, also with Amoonguss, Amoonguss is just most popularly known to spore things. With Amoonguss being able to spore things, I think that the safety goggles item will be more commonly used than ever before. You can slap safety goggles on a Heatran just so that Heatran completely walls the Amoonguss. So that's just a thought. Next we have Zapdos, and Zapdos, I'm not surprised. Zapdos has been in overused for a long time, and then it dropped down to underused, and now it's back in overused. So Zapdos really hasn't found a home. Maybe it can stay in borderline. Zapdos in overused is pretty interesting. I mean, there's a lot of ground type Pokemon out there, and there's a lot of Sandstorm teams. And what happens with Sandstorm teams is you get Pokemon like Tyranitar or Polygon to set up the sand, and then in comes Excadrill, who is going to get pretty much a free switch in if you have a Zapdos on the field. Speed is going to be doubled, and Excadrill can start sweeping. So that's really dangerous for Zapdos, because Sandstorm teams are fairly common, and then Rain teams are also fairly common in overused, and whenever you have Pokemon that are like outspeeding you, and Kingdras are dropping Draco Meteors, or Ludicolo's ice beaming you, or something like that, then Zapdos is in for trouble. But overall, I think that Zapdos was moved to OU because it got access to its hidden ability Static, and Zapdos is really good at stalling Pokemon, and with Static, just to get things paralyzed, that's really going to annoy Pokemon a lot. So that's the problem here. I think that Zapdos can stay in OU for a while, for a little while. Okay, so those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all these tier changes, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.